Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shaked, Sports Guy Show. Name is Shaked, the Sports Guy Show. Hope everyone is doing well, doing very well. As right now, it's after 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It's after 8 o'clock right here on the East Coast, waiting for NFL Insider Alex Bryant to join me for some fun NFL show tonight. Because while I'm waiting patiently for Alex Bryant join me, which he told me on Twitter that he has a very important phone call with NFL agent potentially about a move, so that is about to be made. So we might ask Alex Bryant if he has some breaking news, because after all, Alex Bryant is in New York City. New York City is a very big city for the NFL. So he's going to join me in a second from now, as soon as he's finished with his phone call. And meanwhile, my name is Shakir, Sports Guy Show. I hope everyone had a great Wednesday. So while I'm doing that, talking to you all, trying to set up a new Fire Stick, which I just got a couple of hours ago. Thank you for the like button, appreciate it. Just got it a couple of hours ago, and I'm trying. What's up? How you doing today? Is it my issue? My name is Shakir, Sports Guy Show. We have a big show tonight, NFL show. If you like sport, you like football, make sure turn on the bell notification. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Going to have NFL Insider Alex Bryant, who has 25 years of reporting in the NFL, National Football League, and he's going to join me in a second from now. He's actually on a phone call with an NFL agent. Thank you, I appreciate. We talk about sports on my channel. I talk about, thank you, I appreciate. But turn on the bell notification, guys, because we have guests coming on my channel. You don't want to miss guests. What's up, Kobe, Shelton? Turn on the bell notification. I mean, if you subscribe and you don't turn on, Dante, if you subscribe and you don't turn on the bell notification, you don't know when I'm going live. And you miss a guest. We had a guest last Wednesday. We had a guest the previous Wednesday. We always have guests on my channel. I'm going to have two professional soccer players playing in the Major League Soccer. Liel Abada and Danton Plomanti are going to come on my channel very soon. And here come Alex Bryant. What's up?
What up, dude?
So I just told everyone you were on the phone with the NFL agent. So if you want to share news, if not, if it's not yet official, no need to share anything.
Yeah. No, I can't disclose anything. But I did hear that Pickens was being moved last night before he got moved today. Um, I tweeted
Wow.
about it, but that was just that. Somebody just like kind of told me on their own. It wasn't like I'm not doing the whole like breaking news anymore.
Right, but I mean, that is the breaking news because, I mean, as we talked about prior, we all thought maybe the Panthers, George Pickens. They didn't end up with the Panthers, and in a way, I think the Cowboys paid a very stiff price. A very stiff
Yeah,
price. They basically paid for someone who could be a number one wideout, but is not going to be a number one wideout because the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. So
yeah,
definitely, definitely, they paid a lot. Like they gave him not not to gave him. They gave the Steelers a third round in a fifth round, and they got back a seventh round pick,
mm.
which which is pretty stiff for George Pickens. But sticking on the Steelers for a second, I mean, yeah, you traded for DK Metcalf, but realistically, who's your number two wideout? Is it Calvin Alston? Is it someone that not on the roster yet? So
Yeah. I don't know. Like, so the only thing I can think of is that isn't the old Falcons coach still their coach?
Arthur Blank, look,
Was
yeah,
Yeah,
Arthur
Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith. Like you think about how he built his team when he's in Atlanta. He had one guy, which is London, and they had a good tight end, a good tight end, like he'd actually produce in uh in Pitts. We can think about, you can equate that to Fryermuth, and then he had just a good offensive line. Where they've been drafting offensive line lately, and they have good running backs. Where they just got who they were they the team they got Caleb Johnson, right? Um,
yeah,
and they still have Tyler Warren, and I think they drafted two running backs. They're going to run the ball. They want to run the ball. And they want the one strong X receiver. They want a speed guy. They're kind of like pattern, patterning themselves like the Seahawks, kind of like Calvin Austin's a lot like Tyler Lockett. It kind of shows to me like that Roman Wilson is maybe make the next step. But the thing is, like, no matter what, you DK had another year left of his contract, and you paid him. It was never going to work with George Pickens because he was in the final year of his contract. They were never going to pay him because they've already paid DK. George Pickens was always being moved. And it makes a lot of sense if you know about Marty Schottenheimer, not Marty Schottenheimer, but like Schottenheimer for the
Brian,
Cowboys.
Brian,
And it's what
Brian Schottenheimer, the
Brian,
son.
Brian, yes, sorry. Yes, Brian. Uh, he's like more old school. He needs a traditional X because CD plays out of the slot so much. So just adding a traditional X kind of puts everybody in their specific positions. You can do a lot more with Turpin. You can do a lot more with Tolbert. And then you have Jayden Blue, who's like it opens up the offense a lot more. It makes sense for both sides, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. And Ronnie, we had a question. Ronnie, yeah, I think PSG can beat Intel, and we are talking about the NFL. My name is Shaked Bar-Tal, Alex Bryant, NFL Insider. So we do know last week. I talked with Panther Bowes, Austin WFNZ, but your overall grade and the Panthers, and then a couple of surprise or not surprise picks that you thought were surprised where they were picked or not picked.
Yeah, yeah. Overall, and I was the biggest critic of the Panthers 2 months ago until I saw what they were doing and saw how they were preparing for this year, and I changed my tune. And I don't know if you follow me on any platform. The last 2 months, I've just been like, watch out, guys. We're going to be impressive. We have a great front office, a great front. Like Tepper has built this like a hedge fund, and when you split the duties of GM and you have one cap guy who's basically only listening to analytics, and you have one guy that's just looking at football, and you blend them because Morgan is also big on analytics. First time with Bean. If you don't know Bobby Bean, he's a little brother of Billy Bean, what Moneyball was based on, they're super big on analytics, and the draft was perfection. And I don't use great often, But perfection is a word I never use. They drafted the guy for a, and I don't want to spend so much time on it. I'm trying to make this as fast as possible. You get long, strong guys for short wide receivers because you want to build that catch radius because he's throwing around big dudes. And you got to give him a big target. He can hit whatever target he needs, but you got to be able to give him that big target. Then you get two pass rushers and you trade up right in front of a team that was probably going to draft them. Most likely, those teams were going to draft him, and it was the next pick. It wasn't two picks, it wasn't three picks, it was the very next pick. The first trade you make, you keep all of your picks. You don't lose a pick. And the next trade, you only lose one. So you're able to trade up twice and lose one pick. Then you get your everybody did like the ETN pick. I think the ETN pick is a fantastic pick. One, because pedigree matters. Look at all of the little brothers of any player. They're all fantastic because if anybody's a second child, they're always playing in their big brother or their big sister's shadow, and they're the workers. They're the ones that like I'm going to live up to this standard. Whether it's T.J. Watt and J.J. Watt, whether it's Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey, like Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Diggs, James Cook and Dalvin Cook, like go down the list. Just thinking that way. Plus, you get the guy, and then good teams immediately are like, shit. They probably would have taken that guy. They trade up, and the Texans traded up and get Marks, and then the Rams traded up and got Hunter because they probably thought that a guy like ETN was going to fall. And then you get Evans, who a year ago, because you don't need him to be good right now. You just paid Trimble, and you have Sanders, so you don't need Evans to be good right away. Two drafts it like if he didn't tear his ACL, he's a day two pick. He's like in the Mason Taylor conversation, and then you get your big body to back up because you're finally getting actual nose tackles now. You get a guy that can just develop underneath Bobby Brown and Cam Jackson, and then you get your returner. You get your speed guy that you need. That everybody after you drafted them, like your guys are getting a dog. Almost everybody that's come out has been in support of Jimmy Horn. But even if he doesn't work out, because he's a 6 round pick, it's unlikely that a 6 round pick is going to work out. Even if he doesn't work out, you still got ETN. Like everything he did was just simply perfection. And we really need to give this front office all the kudos in the world. And PFF has kind of said, yeah, Panthers crushed it. And they should because I've never seen a perfect, I consider a perfect draft.
Yeah, I, you made very good points. I gave them A plus. Like I remember on draft night when we did the show and we all thought Jalen Walker, Jalen Walker. That the Panthers did a pretty good job of smoke screen and lying to all of us because we all thought Jalen Walker. We thought maybe the other guy from Georgia, which the 49ers
Joe Williams.
draft, yeah,
Yep.
or maybe Tyler Warren, but instead it was T-Mac, which we didn't know at the time that Bryce Young and T-Mac did work out back when Bryce was in California a month before the draft, and Bryce was very impressed, which clearly show leadership from Bryce. Because please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember last year Bryce labeled the front office to draft someone. And sure, they drafted defense and offense, but I don't remember Bryce labeled the Panthers to draft JT Sanders, for example.
Yeah. Bryce has all the leverage right now. Bryce knows what we are refusing to admit. They wanted to move on from Bryce. They were done. You don't. It doesn't happen. You don't play 2 games and get immediately benched. It just doesn't happen. You play 2 games and then directly after him saying no, Bryce is our quarterback, 18 hours later, you watched enough film, talked to all your coaches and owner, and talked to both those players after you a game and traveling. Yeah, that's not true. They wanted to move on from Bryce. I will. You might think I'm a typical hat guy. I will die on the hill, and they made him regret that. They He got the chance to come back in, and he crushed, and he's that good that they all kind of had to fall on their sword and be like, "We're sorry." Like, this is they didn't actually say these things, but they're kind of beholden to Bryce, and Bryce has so much leverage because he can always be like, media will not crush Bryce if he's like, I'm gone. I'm requesting a trade because they don't believe in me.
But
Nobody's gonna kill him for that. Nobody's gonna kill him for that.
but let me ask
So
you
he has leverage.
let me ask you a quick question. We all It was all what's up FX. Yeah, his name is Alex Bryant, NFL Insider, 25 years. One can follow him on alexbryant.com. So an- anyway, back to your point about moving on from Bryce, because I think this is very important. Everyone stated David Tepper was meddling. Now, David Tepper, on draft night, he sold Bryce Young as a point guard. We're going to win multiple championships. So if I hear you correctly, is that they
Yeah.
clearly wanted to move on from Bryce. It means Tepper is not mentoring anymore. Because I doubt David Tepper wanted to move on from his investment.
Yeah. So let's say you're David Tepper. Let's play this world, right? And just I know people think that David was the one that made the Bryce Young pick, but let's say that that's not the case. Let's say that he didn't the Bryce say because Bryce was the consensus number one overall pick. Most boards had Bryce Young number one. He was a consensus number one pick. So just say that narrative is silly. So they draft him. He sucks all year last year. We can admit that he sucked. And then the first two games, let's go with this narrative that he said, "Hey, Canales, you said that you could fix Bryce, and what's going on?" And Canales did what rookie coaches did, and they said, "I'm going to play the blame game," and I say he's unfixable. Just say it because that makes sense, right? That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense in any business. In any business you can think of, he's like, I thought I could. He's like, he just doesn't get it. He just doesn't do it. Like, get it. And then you bring in Andy Dalton and you take the rest of the year like that in your mind because what do you have in your mind? You have guys that fit the profile of a Geno Smith, of a Baker, like with Cam Ward. If you just like take the whole season, but then you are required to play Bryce, and he just crushes it. Because say this the other way around. Let's just do the other argument that it is Tepper's investment.
But the, the, the big question is, I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. They hired Canales because of the great job he did developing Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith, Russell Wilson in large part. So I'm shocked that after 2 weeks, Canales already gave up on Bryce. I mean, sure, don't get me wrong, he was terrible. In the Saints game, he was absolutely terrible, but so was the entire team. Yeah, and the the Chargers game now, the Chargers game, the problem with the problem with Bryce in the Chargers game, he wasn't confidence. I remember he took a sack by Joey Bosa, where basically he held on to the ball like for 10 seconds, rolling to the left. He took a sack when he could throw the ball. So he definitely didn't play with confidence. And I believe as I stated last year, and I stated when we shows ago, that Bryce, the reason why Bryce struggled so much, mental. It was all mental, all in his brain, because he took so many sacks, and in Alabama, basically, he had a protected O-line, and in high school, he was used to winning, so plus, he wasn't used to losing, and also all of the sacks that he took basically made him a scale. So even though he's 5'9", he played like 4'9" in essence. Someone who's always anticipating the sacks and all of that. So the Andy Dalton accident was definitely a bless. I mean, of course, you don't want to be involved in an accident. I mean, myself, literally yesterday, I nearly died from a car accident. You can see what I posted yesterday. On
Oh yeah, I saw that. Are you,
yeah, I mean, I'm alive, so I'm okay.
you all right?
Literally, in my case, I was second away. I'm not exaggerating. Second away from being. Hmm? So mentally, I'm okay. I mean, could be worse. I mean, could be worse. So, I mean, it happened. I'm glad to be blessed, glad to be protected by my grandparents in heaven, by God, and all of that. So I'm absolutely glad in all of that. But yeah, mentally I'm okay. But back to the Panthers, what
Mm.
I'm saying is his accident minor definitely allowed Bryce to walk on the side. And I believe the Panthers, when they saying Andy Dalton not got into an accident, we will probably put Bryce back in, but probably week 11, week 12, week 13, when the team,
Why? Why wait that long? It doesn't make any sense.
I think,
Like it doesn't make any sense. Like you know you're out of the playoff contention. Get your guy reps. It doesn't like it just doesn't make sense.
no, you're right. But what I'm thinking is they were going to roll the dice with Andy until they were basically eliminated from the playoff and then
They
put
basically
Bryce in.
were. They were 1-6 and defense the year before. They were the worst defense the previous year.
You make, you, yeah.
Still were back at least Bryce. You still think Andy gives you the best chance to win? That's ridiculous. Never been a 1-6 team to ever make the. You were out. You're done. And
You make a valid point, and by the way, there is a delay. Probably in New York is not working as good in Charlotte, but that is all good. But and what I was saying, my friend, uh, I think to the Commandos game, yeah, Andy Dalton was terrible, but let's not make excuse for the defense. I mean, they were absolutely horrendous in that game. They couldn't tackle anyone. Exactly.
everybody. Like, that's the point. That's my
But
point.
back to the Panthers, the current team. I really like
Mm.
that they signed Redfro. I really like what they did with the draft. I mean, they drafted a guy originally from Purdue, Panther Boys, familiar with him, and then he transferred to Texas A&M, which actually overall production, he put up better numbers than Shamal Stewart, and Shamal Stewart went 17 overall. So probably Shamal Stewart got more hype. Then in the third round, the safety, That safety remind me of Jeremy Chin. So hopefully Overo knows, learn his lesson, because if he does, we're looking at next Jeremy Chin, maybe Steve Atwater, former Broncos Hall of Famer, something like that. And ETN, I'm also very high on ETN. The thing is, you need to stay healthy. If he can, he's a tremendous returner, but he's also a pretty good catching type of a running back, which basically double trouble in essence. Like D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart. D'Angelo was more east and west, pardon me, north and south. Jonathan Stewart was more the powerful back. Chuba is more the powerful back. We have Rico and Etienne. In a way, his game reminds me of CMC. I know CMC is very good when he's healthy, but there is similarity between CMC and Etienne as far as speed, explosive, and CMC also early in his career returned kickoff and punt. That tight end that they drafted is underrated, and Cam Johnson, the guys that they drafted from Florida, Cam is back in Charlotte, so finally we have a Cam, not Newton, another Cam for at the moment. So he's a good player, but he's more of a project. He's more of a project and more of a backup, but he has Derek Brown and Ashawn Robinson and Bobby Brown Jr. to learn from. And Jimmy Owen, I know it's a big comparison, but his game reminds me of Steve Smith. Steve Smith was early on in his career explosive return. That's how he made it to begin with. So in Jimmy Owen in Colorado, I mean, I know
Mhm.
everyone talking about Santa and rightly so, but Jimmy Owen put a pretty good number as a second wideout for Colorado, and he's a speedster. And two free agent, actually three. That one of them local kid and Hunter Retro. If he can stay healthy and come back healthy from the celiac disease and be back to normal, he is a very good white. But in a way, his game reminds me of Adam Sinlin, which I understand Sinlin is 31 and probably playing his last season, Red Frost 29. So hopefully he can make the team. Then two quick players that they sign, and then I will talk about two quick that I think they should sign, and I want to get your opinion. So number one, the quarterback, the actually three. The one of them I saw they gave over the slot money to an undrafted wideout from Miami. Like they gave him a very high number, so they are very high on him.
Jacoby
Also,
Georgia.
yeah. Thank you, San Diego. What's up? Also keep an eye on Muslim Muhammad Jr., the son of Muslim Muhammad. He might. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a local kid. I know it's a good story, but he wasn't great at high school in Myers Park, Charlotte. That kicker from Florida State, I'm surprised he went undrafted because
Oh, me too, man. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm with you.
and then I'm wondering why are they not signing Justin Blackmon, the safety, and a sentence Samuel, and then finally, just as an extra, I know he played for the Giant for a while. Jason Pierre-Paul, former Buccaneer.
Mm.
I'm wondering why. Maybe they should take a look at him because I don't think they're bringing back Shaq Thompson.
Yeah, they're different players. Yeah, Shaq Thompson, middle linebacker, and
Right. J-
yeah.
JTP is a pass rusher, which I believe he played for Tampa when Canales was the offensive coordinator. I know defense and offense, but perhaps Canales is familiar with them. But I'm kind of surprised they haven't beefed up the corner and the safety position.
Yeah, I mean, you just said a lot. So I'll start with Renfro. Yeah, because they're such good route runners, people compare Thielen to Renfro. They're so different because Thielen doesn't look it. He's 6'3". He's a big freaking dude. And Renfro's what 5'9", 5'10". Like he's
Yeah.
the guy that's going to get you your 35. He can get. He's like almost like Julian Edelman was in his first like little bit of time.
Paul.
It
And
became a better route runner, a better receiver towards the end. But that's how he is. Good.
no, I'm sorry. In essence, like Ricky Prohl, not a very tall wideout, but ones that you can count on to make the catch. Ricky Prohl, who used to play for the Rams, very
And that and
athletic.
that's the analogy is that you get open quick, are you a good route runner, and you have hands. In that sense, yes, they're very similar. Thielen can play every single role he can play the X to Z, the slot, whatever. He's so savvy and he's so big that he can play everything. Hunter Renfrow is only going to be a slot receiver. It more reminds me of I keep on making the analogy to Jameson Crowder, how he is right now. Is that when you need it, he can make it happen. But basically said they will be and will be aggressive about it. And he was saying that they're going to see what they have in their rookies first, and then they'll address these needs afterwards because they know there's a ton of safeties on the market. They know there's a ton of cornerbacks on the market. I agree with you. I think they need to address both positions. With middle linebacker, it seems like they're good going in with Wallace and Jewell being their starters, or Boom, as their depth piece.
Yeah.
I think they're good with their front. I don't think there's
And one,
really
yeah,
problems. Maybe they pick up Gabe Davis. I don't know. I think they like this team. I think they like their rookies, and I think I'd add a safety,
right.
a vet safety.
I was going.
I'm positive.
Yeah, was going to say, I mean, I know we are not getting OTA and all of that, but in a way, just on paper, this roster feel like it's much better compared to previous year. Where you have so much depth. I mean, I remember last year, in the year before that, the wide receiver group was bad, was really bad. They signed player off the street and running back and all of that. And now, literally, they have so much depth at wide receiver that someone who's very good will probably not make the team. Like, I mean, the undrafted guy from Miami. I mean, literally, right now, the only players who I think are a lock for the wideout, Leggett, Cocker, Tinlin, and T-Mac. That is the
Yep,
four. Then
correct.
you have the five, Muhammad, who might, I think it's a practice squad. I think he really will make the practice squad.
Maybe.
You have, you have Muhammad, you have Jimmy Owen. Well, like I said, in comparison to Steve Smith, I think is reasonable. The eyes and the
No, it's not reasonable at all. They're different. DJ Smith was like the strongest 5'9" dude of all time. Jimmy Orr's like 150 pounds. It's so different. But they are explosive as far as they can make plays. I get what you're saying in that sense. But Steve Smith was like, I'm going to just, there ain't nobody in the league that I can't knock out. He's that kind of guy. Jimmy Horn's like, you can't touch me. 'Cause I'm so quick and like fast. Like a little
Right.
different, but I get what you're saying. Is they're undersized and they're dogs, I guess.
Yeah. So we have On, we have Retro, we have David Moore, we have the
Can't name
guy
the team.
from. So basically, five, if you included Muhammad, five wideout fighting, I think there were to six wideout.
Oh, and Kobe Hudson. You didn't say Kobe Hudson. He's a legit shot.
Right. And also, I don't know if they brought the guy from Tampa Bay who was like
Tompkins,
like
no,
a spin.
they didn't sign him. Yes, Tompkins, they haven't signed him. I
Okay,
doubt they
so
will.
so six kids, six not six kids, six wideout for two spot. That is extremely low. And
Maybe
then
one. They only took five wide receivers in last year, so
no,
maybe
but
only
this
five wide receivers go.
I know, but this year is. I mean, who realistically? I mean, they will have tough decision. And then the
Yeah,
tight end.
yeah.
I know the tight end. I know you're not very high on the kid who used to play basketball, but
Taking the team. Oh my god. Nobody's talking about him anymore. Now that we drafted the guy, nobody's talking about this guy. And
no,
even Dan was like, we were taking the shot.
actually, the Panthers actually did write a story about him the other day.
Yeah, they also read a story about F.A. Obata and then cut him the next day.
No, you're right. You're right. But anyway, tight end, basically 3 to 4. So in
I
essence,
love the
this
tight end room.
roster,
I like the tight end room a lot. Very underrated tight end room.
and I mean even running back. I mean running back. I think Black Shield with ETN,
He's
if
done.
ETN
Yeah, he's
play
done.
else
Yeah,
is good cut, and then
yeah.
a
He'll be a practice
linebacker.
squad guy. Nobody's picking him up. He'll be a practice squad guy.
Right, and linebacker. I think Clown is gone. I think they're going to trade him. I don't know if you had a chance
It
to.
seems like it. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to see what the rookie mini camp's like, and then if they like what they see with the guys they have, then I think you're right. I think I'm surprised, but I think what it means to if that happens, I think that is asking for it. I think he's approached the coaching staff that wants to move if that's the case. 'Cause I don't see why you would do it from their point of view, because the cap savings is you're losing $6-7 million dead cap if you move them. But I don't know. I think there's something more behind the scenes, and I think that Conley's like, yeah, man, I only got a few years left, and you got a young team, and I don't want to be a part of the rebuild. If he moves, I think it would be more him making that call.
But honestly, it wasn't good. I mean, it was good, but not like the players that we anticipated back home in Charlotte. We all thought we were getting like with the Browns and all in his career and Ravens. But he was average. Realistic. Yeah, he had 5.5 sacks, but he missed a lot of times during the regular season. So he wasn't as good as we would hope for. I mean, the Panthers were, I mean, realistically, Chase Young, which I know we don't talk about the Saints, but they, I think, got the better player compared to Clowney. I mean, they re-signed Chase Young, and I don't remember how many sacks he had last year, but I think he had more sacks than Clowney. So Clowney was
Well,
okay,
here's the problem that we have as Panthers fans is that we we look at so say Bryce. Let's take Bryce and like, oh my God, this last 7 game stretch, how amazing was he? Well, he did get Adam Thielen back. That's pretty good. Like, you get somebody like that back, where like the games before that he was hurt for 7 games this season. Where it, but like if you go look at the defense that same timeline, when Wanham came back, that's when Ashawn Robinson started getting all the sacks.
Right. You're not going to get me to agree on a Vero in the defense because, in my opinion, injuries or
Oh,
not, out of
yeah.
position or not, you have to play
I'm talking,
tough.
I'm talking about player production. I'm talking about like specific player production, and the same thing on the offense. Like, if we're gonna make, if we're gonna say, if we're just gonna make this thing that we're gonna crown anybody from how, like, say Bryce, because I mean, I like Bryce. I think that Bryce is gonna be good, but but I know that he got to pass the ball a lot more. He got to be in rhythm a lot more. He got all his receivers back. Where the defense, they didn't get that opportunity. They were playing with undrafted free agents beside them. They had to overcompensate sometimes, so it made them look a lot worse for some specific reasons. I'm with you. I'm not an Evero fan. I honestly don't really know why they kept him, but I think for player wise, you saw what Clowney can be when he's not the only person getting, like, he's going to get every double team because who else is rushing the passer?
Right. Was going to ask you real quick. I don't know how many more minutes we have, but real quick about the Saints. I know we mentioned it before, but I honestly don't understand what in the heck they did drafting Tyler Shook. Because Tyler Shook, yeah, he's probably going to be very good, but he's 26 years old in September. Most quarterback, I mean, he's almost approaching Chris Winkie age. Chris Winkie, I believe, was drafted 27. And I'm not saying Tyler Shook is going to be as bad as Chris Winkie, but even if he's very good, you, at the very most, he's probably looking at 7, 8 good production years. And you draft him in the second round, if I remember correctly, which is very, it's a risky decision. And I mean, no, Derek Carr for coming back. You still have the quarterback from South Carolina we drafted last year, who at times played well. So they're a complete mess. And then
Yeah,
the Browns.
you said it right.
The Browns, they're even more complete mess because I mean, you draft
Yeah, they're the
Dylan
Browns.
Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel. I believe in the second round they drafted him.
Third
Maybe
round, yeah. They drafted Junkins in the second round.
so he's an older quarterback from NFL standard. He's old and he's short, relatively short quarterback, and he doesn't get hit. So you drafted him, and then you drafted Shador. And I think Shador has a chance to be very good. But here's what I don't understand. I thought the reason why they traded down, and we talked about it on the draft night how you thought Mason Graham was very good. Only time will prove. But I honestly thought the reason why they traded down is because they were planning to draft a quarterback in 2026 when it's supposed to be very deep in quarterback class. So
Yeah.
now they're in essence the clown of the NFL. Clown organization, which I believe, if you watched on the third day of the draft, they announced Shador Sanders' pick. And you saw the Browns' reaction. And that was their face. So
Yeah, yeah,
clearly tell me Jimmy Aslan was the one who literally forced that pick because it doesn't make sense. You take two
oh yeah, of
quarterbacks
course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
when you have Kenny Pickett and you have Joe Flacco, even though he's 40,
Yeah.
he's 90 years old. 90 years old Joe Flacco, he can still play. And he's a Hall of Famer and all of
Oh, he'll be the
that.
starter this year. Yeah, he'll be
So,
the starter this year.
so the Browns are a complete clown of the NFL with the Saints. I mean, I know it's the Saints empty South, but you don't draft Tyler Shook when you don't know if Carr is coming back, or if you draft a quarterback, they should have drafted Shador. Realistically, they are the one who should have drafted Shador.
Yeah. Uh, they're both they're both playing for next year. So just like and I talk about this all the time. I talk about this the algorithm of the wide receiver for year three quarterback. When you get your quarterback year one, and then you get a line, your first priority is get a line around them, and then the year two you draft a quarterback high, first or second round, because if you hit, then you don't have to spend capital in the third year to get an elite quarterback because you have to have an elite wide receiver. So you have to have an elite wide receiver in year three because that's your make or break year for your quarterback. So it's the same thing for quarterback. If I know I got Deshaun Watson, the last year of Deshaun Watson's deal that I have to eat, I have the last year of Derek Carr's contract that I got to eat. What am I going to do? Let me get these middle round quarterbacks. See if I get lightning in a bottle where I don't have to draft one early next year, right? So they're
Right.
doing that to see the upside if they get them, because then if they do have them, then next year they got first round picks that they can use on another position, and their rebuild happens a lot faster. So what they told me is, yeah, we're going to be the first and second worst teams in the league, probably, unless these quarterbacks are lightning in a bottle by doing this. I agree with you. They never wanted Shador. They never wanted him. But owners like to sell tickets. Shador sells tickets, and he said it's a fifth round pick, bro. Just get Shador. And they're like, oh my god, okay, fine. I overall I thought that was a stupid move by the Browns, but overall I like their process as far as just trying to gain more picks and taking BPA because they knew that this is the year that they're probably not going to compete, and they're going to have Joe Flacco kind of just like hold down the fort for them.
Right. Here's a bold prediction, and we will see next year that the Brady again extend Sean Watson more money. They will probably do that.
Okay.
And the Saints. I mean, we say that they have to take the hit this year with Derek Carr. The question is, next year, are they going to be all of a suddenly out of cap room? Hell, because sooner rather than later, it has to catch up to them. Because if you notice, every year there is restructure. Which yeah, it seemed nice. You free up money temporarily, but you're basically building up. Well, like an avalanche, it has to catch up to them.
Yeah. So just like you got to look at the overall thing that they're doing. You're right as far as it's catching up with them, but all those players are coming. Those big contract. Cam Jordan's done after this year. He's probably gonna retire. Derek Carr's done after this year. They lost their right guard. I can't remember his no, right tackle.
Ramsey,
Ramchick. They lost Ruiz. They've lost Hendrickson. They've lost C.J. Gardner Johnson. They're going to lose Demario Davis. They're losing all these guys. So the problem isn't that they're running out of cap room. The problem is that they're not going to have any players left because they're paying all these old people this insane amount of cap, and then they're all going to be gone all at once. So they're going to go on a full rebuild. I don't think Olave is going to be on the team by the end of the year. So how do I know that? They drafted a quarterback, and they're like, hopefully we have upside on this quarterback. They drafted another offensive lineman who they got. Are they the team that got Earthry? Um,
yeah.
they got Mikael Williams. So they're building their trenches, which is what you do first. They know they're about to go into rebuild. They just have all these old guys that they're like, I'm not retiring. I'm going to take this. I'm Cam Jordan. You're like going to pay me like $30 million. I'm like 37 years old. All right, I'm gonna take it. So it's not more about the cap has already caught up with them because they can't bring in youth. And when all these guys leave at one time, then they're just like then they're just like in draft, like they're just young again. They're just going up full draft mode because they lost Marshawn Lattimore, they lost to Dabo. Like their secondary is bad. They're losing Matthew, losing like I said, Bar Davis. They can't pay Chase Young a big contract. He's kind of getting into their part of his career. Cam Jordan, like who do they have? Kamara's getting old. They're all gonna be gone at one time.
They
It's gonna
should
be sad
probably
watching the face.
they should probably trade a lot. because sooner rather than later they will have to pay him.
I'm like, uh, well, they're already paying him. Nobody's going to take these contracts. I mean, they're going to try. Actually, what they're probably going to do because they drafted another running back this year, they're probably going to try to move Kamara at the end of the year to try to go to a contender to for them to try to win a championship. But I don't think they can move anybody else. Nobody's going to want any of them. Nobody's going to want any of those guys.
And then they, if Carl is coming back, I mean, if he's coming back, why you draft? I mean, like I said before, Shador would have been perfect for the Saint. He really would have been for some reason. And and I know Shador is the fifth round. Don't be surprised if he win NFL Rookie of the Year award because
I think
talent-wise,
we
yeah,
I think we need to be more prepared that he's just not good. I think so. Panthers Post had brought a scout in, and the scout was like, "I got an undrafted free agent grade on Shador." I've heard that from a lot of different people that they don't think he's very good. It really feels like the media has hyped up Shador because they're getting a lot because he's Sanders' son, Deion Sanders' son. But a lot of scouts have a really low grade on him, and 32 teams ain't just going to pass it on a guy for 5 straight rounds if he's good. So I think it's more likely than not that he's going to not be good than be good.
right. We will see.
Well,
Only
so, I mean,
time.
I'm not a scout. I'm just saying that I've talked to him and they have they're
Right.
not high on him.
Right, and I think also T Mac might have a chance to win Rookie of the Year. I'm not saying because I'm a Panther
I think that's a
fan,
good bet.
but
That is a very good bet.
the ceiling is very high. And speaking of the Panthers, we're almost at the show. So next week, NFL schedule is going to be so we'll have a show next week at 8 o'clock. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they release it around 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Because I know only in the afternoon they release like the teams like on social media you can find like the leaks and all of that, and I'm predicting the Panthers will have at least 3 prime time games next season. Prime time games can include 425.
I no. I think if you exclude 425, I think you're right. I think people are excited about the Panthers. Like people really are. Like I think T Mac is a big. And it's so wild for Panthers fans that we were all kind of low on T Mac, and then after we drafted him, everybody's like, "Oh my god, best pick they could have done." T Mac's perfect for Bryce. Yeah, like it makes a lot. It makes a lot of sense. And we as Panther fans were so out on him; it didn't make a lot of sense. I think people are really excited about getting Dowdle, having that run game, and the T Mac and Bryce connection. And I think you're right. I think Genty and T Mac are like who I would bet on with Hampton with the Chargers. I mean, that's just perfect. Like
Right, it's, I
Hampton
mean,
would be like a dark horse. Like whoever is the best odds is who I would bet of those three.
like I know here in Carolina, back in Charlotte, people don't want people saying no one is talking about the Panthers, and rightly so. But the front office is not going to admit it because they are rebuilding and all of that. But coming to the schedule release and coming to the season, this team, even though they only won 5 games last year because of Bryce, reborn in essence, and Canales, and the off season and the draft, this team is riding in, and a lot of other export, is potentially not only to win the South, but maybe win a game in the playoff.
Man, if Chuba doesn't fumble, if Leggett doesn't drop a pass, and if Trimble doesn't drop a pass, we're A1 team. And we're
Exactly.
significantly better this year. And we're healthy. Oh, well, hopefully we're healthy this year.
And
But
also the
it,
so
we're better than people think we are. I will say that.
and also the Chiefs games. I mean, if Dean
I'm just
Jackson,
saying, No, I'm saying like
doesn't play,
the Cheesecake
yeah, doesn't play,
triple
right.
had
But
a ball in his hand and he'd bring it down.
no, I know. But if
But
Dean Jackson doesn't play lazy, which is not on the team anymore, but if he doesn't play lazy and tackle Patrick Mahomes inbound, the game going to overtime. So, so you're saying excluding 425 3 prime time because I'm including 425 national TV as prime time.
I would say I would probably put the over under at 2.5. I just really think people are excited about the Panthers. I think well, first of all, we're probably gonna have a game in Europe, um,
Against the
and yes, um, wait, guess who?
Jags. We are playing the
Oh, Jags.
Jaguars.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I think for the Jets, I was like, no, because they played Jets this year in MetLife, so I live in New York. Um, and I think I think we get a Thursday. I think we get a Monday. Like I think we can have three
So I
if you
might play.
include
Yeah.
if you include a Europe game as a prime time.
Right. So I won't be surprised if they get a 425, at least one 425, one
Oh
425,
yeah,
which
yeah.
don't be
We got the
surprised.
nine. We played the Niners this year, right?
Yeah, but on the road.
We're definitely gonna play 425. Yeah, on the
Okay.
road, exactly. But it's Pacific time zone, so we're definitely playing 425 games.
Right. Or maybe 4 or 5. I mean, it could be 4 or 5, but don't be surprised if they fix our game, primetime game against the Pats. Because the Pats, we don't talk about them because they're in the AFC, but they had a good off season. They had a pretty good off season. The Pats.
Oh
They could
yeah,
surprise.
yeah. They rolled over their money from last year. They've spent. Yeah, no, they like yeah. Milton Williams, Milton Williams and Stephon Diggs, and then you upgrade your offensive line, and yeah, they're yeah. And then you got who's the running back they got is Henderson. Yeah. They definitely upgraded. They look a lot better.
And I feel bad for the Jags. I mean, if I remember correctly, they are rebuilding their stadium. Revenge. So in essence, for I think this year or maybe next year, their fans won't get to see their games in Jacksonville. If I remember correctly,
Where are they playing?
that
Where are they playing?
no, they are rebuilding their stadium, the Jags.
Yeah,
So
but where they play their home games?
I would presume in London.
I don't think there's a big Jags contingency anyways. I think it's just Florida, and if you're close, you just go to the games.
So maybe in Orlando, which kind of disappointing. I mean, you drafted Travis Hunter and you have a good team. So I won't be shocked. In I will actually be surprised if our game against the Jags is not in London because from ticket perspective, Travis Hunter, the NFL would definitely love to have Travis Hunter. And since Travis Hunter can also play cornerback, he might line up against T-Mac.
Oh yeah, it's a great narrative. Yeah, I agree with you.
And then I don't think we probably will go to Lambeau. I mean, we go to Lambeau, which hopefully for the fans and for the reporter perspective, that game is not in January. Because if it's January, everyone
God,
will freeze up.
yeah. Well, we can run the ball though. Like what sucks is that we're playing teams that can also run the ball. like, like think about like when we had Wilkes. Like, if you can run the ball, like you got a shot, and that's what Vrabel knows. And what did Vrabel do? You got an offensive lineman and then a running back in the draft because he likes to run the ball and play good defense. And that's like all the teams that you're like, crap, man, we got to face them. So we got to face Josh Jacobs and Lloyd, and like that's what's annoying is that we're getting all these teams like the 49ers. They're really going to run this freaking football, and like you can never pencil in a win if you're playing teams that can run the football.
But the 49ers, I mean, we assume they can run the ball if they have an LCCMC.
No,
If
they
not,
drafted James in the draft. They have Guerrero coming back. I mean, they got guys.
they do, but they also have problems at wide out. I mean, they still have a Uke. I don't know if he's asking out or not. They traded Debo. They
Yeah,
drafted the guy.
they got Pearsall and Jennings and Kittle. Like they're fine. They'll be okay.
Yeah. And then we played the Rams at home, which
God, we got to play the Rams. Ugh.
at all.
The thing is, like, I
But
like our schedule for overall, but man, some of the teams we have to play are just like not good matchups for us.
no, you're right. But hey, at least we don't play the Lions. We don't play the Vikings. We play the Seahawks at
Right?
home. So Sam Darnold, grab your goggles and face because Sam Darnold is coming back to Bank of America Stadium, revenge game. Hopefully not.
We'll,
So
we'll beat the
we play,
Seahawks. I'll call that.
right. So we play the Seahawks. We play. I mean, we play the Dolphins. They are a tempo, high tempo.
We'll beat the Dolphins.
We should, but remember a couple of years ago, I know it was Frank Reich, but that was embarrassing. That was really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
October 8th, 2023, that we played that game. So that was embarrassing. The Jets, we should beat the Jets, even though you're in New York and all of that.
We're
I
beating the
think that
Jets. Yeah, we're beating the Jets.
should. But and we play the
Yeah, we're beating the
Cowboys,
Jets.
our traditional game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they'll beat us
Traditional.
like they usually do.
Now, eh, we will see. We will
I
really
mean, how we
see. I
beat
mean,
them? I how we beat them. The
we
thing
should.
we're going to win at least 9 games next year. I book it. This this team is we're about to it's like we're like holding back in slingshot, and at some point we're just gonna take off. We're gonna go on. I think we're gonna go on. Uh, I, I'm gonna predict. I'll predict this. We'll go on a 5 game winning streak this year. We'll win 5 games in a row at some point.
So basically, you're predicting this team is like the 2022 Lions, 2023 Lions,
Correct.
which I,
Exactly.
which I, Chris Jenkins. I don't know if you know Chris Jenkins from Charlotte Vibe, which I is a great reporter, great guy covering the Panthers here in Charlotte. He's on YouTube. Anyway, last year before the Saints home opener, the road opener, he has a call in. So I called in and I predicted basically we would be Dave Canales is like Dan Campbell. We are going to be like the Lions team. The Lions team from 2021, 2022 wasn't very good, but they build up momentum. So
Yeah.
basically, if we are both correct, if this Panthers team last year was like the 2022 Lions, this means 2023, we should win the South. And maybe
That happening. Yeah.
because everyone here is talking about the Falcons, the Falcons, the Falcons, because they made some move. I think
Doesn't
they,
make any sense. They didn't do anything.
I,
They didn't get any better.
I
They just
think,
drafted. They drafted 2 first rounders, but like
but they trade away.
they lost Simmons. They lost. I mean, like I don't know.
I mean,
They still got the same. There's no momentum behind the Falcons,
I
and
like the
they lost Dalman, right? Didn't Dalman leave their center, or
yeah.
did he come back?
Yeah. No. He signed with the Bills. Bills
Yeah,
fell to
they
the
lost their center. Center's a pretty
right,
important position.
of course. But I think I like who they drafted, like their safety Watts. I think he's very good from Notre Dame. But I
Whatever.
but James Spears Jr. Like I mean, they basically they took a gamble. If he's not good, if they're not very good, and we know their GM has nothing to lose because he's basically on his last leg of his contract. But basically, they could potentially, hopefully, will give the Rams a very high first round pick. And speaking of, I mean, Ravens drafting Mike Green. I mean, we all know Mike Green is a very good player on the field. Off the field, there is red flags. And I mean, red flags, they cut yesterday the Justin Tucker, who is a Hall of Famer for guys. Personality wise, off the field, stay 50 miles away from him if you're a lady, especially, and massage and all of that. So they cut him, they released the statement and all of that. It was I don't think it was football decision and all of that. But then you drafted Mike Green. I mean, Mike Green, two off the field alleged of sexual assault. Very serious. Even if it's clear, two two is a lot. One is even, in my opinion, even if it's unproven, cannot be drafted. Two, understand? I mean, you get rid of one bad character and you replace him with another bad character. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, but, so this is all assumption that we're making because of like what we hear from the media. These organizations, they consider high draft picks. When I say high draft picks, I mean day one, day two picks. They consider these guys. They're paying first of all premium capital and then actual premium money to get these guys. They have they have investigators. They have all these things that look into these things, and they come up with a not only how if they're guilty or not guilty, if they could possibly be charged or go to jail for these things. They do all they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these background checks, and them Ravens being a good organization because we all knew that Tucker was going to get cut because they're the team that cut Ray Rice. Like they don't still have those kind of guys in the locker room. So they drafted this guy. It feels like they know something that he might be right. This might be nothing. Because Isaiah Bond didn't get drafted. So when people talk, listen, right? The NFL is telling you that there's something behind the Isaiah Bond allegations. But with Mike Green, probably not so much because I don't see a good organization like the Ravens drafting a guy that actually is guilty of what they're accusing him of. And we see that
But
because they're the team that said no Ray Rice, no uh, Tucker,
Tucker.
even though you're a Hall of Famer.
But the question is with Mike Green, and I'm not saying he's guilty because he has to be found guilty in the court of law and all of that. But let's presume all of the allegations are not true. For this
Uh,
point of conversation, we don't know if it's true or not. Why did it split into the third round? Why did a team like the Panthers, who could clearly use him, the Browns, not the Browns, the Bengals, and so many other teams, they passed on him. So they either know some things that we don't know, that maybe the Ravens, I mean, they all have investigator, but maybe they found out some things that they don't know. Or
yeah.
maybe, just maybe, let's say he's innocent. They still saw it one, two, too much. We cannot take a chance, even if he's innocent, but it could happen down the road. We are not going to draft him.
So all these, 'cause I worked in this industry, right? All these teams have marketing firms. It isn't what happened; it's what you can sell to your fan base. And we, as Panther fans, are kind of terrible about this. That we automatically prove, like, say that somebody's bad, good, watch, not watch, guilty, innocent, because we're just so used to being disappointed. That's why good organizations, those fan bases are like, we trust you. Like, why wouldn't you trust John Harbaugh and the Ravens? They've always done the right thing. So you can sell to your fan base, yo, trust us on us bringing these guys in. And if we did it, it would only be a distraction. That's all that would happen. And that's exactly what we're trying to prevent because what happened with Bryant? There was stuff came out about David Tepper texting him on the field. There's been stuff that came out about Deontay in the locker room. They're worried about creating a new culture within that environment, without in that organization. So they're getting rid of everything that can be misconstrued as bad. So that's why this stuff happens. The Panthers might have said, "Yo, we want this guy, but it's going to be a distraction, even though we think that he might be innocent." And we can't have that because we're rebuilding our culture.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. We had someone in the chat, FX, asking to please say your name. So the co-host for tonight, Alex Bryant,
Oh,
NFL insider, 25 years covering the NFL. Make sure to check his website, alexbryant.com. So Mike Green, and then I I think honestly, I know tackle. We talk about off the field, but I also think it has to do with football decision. And here's why: they drafted the kicker. I don't think if they drafted the kicker, they would have cut tackle. Even though we all agree what is accused of is very extremely serious, which honestly they should have cut him from day one that it came out realistically. But I believe part of it they cut him football decision because they draft a kicker. I don't think if they did not draft a kicker, I think they would have still kept him and just ignore everything.
I think it's the other way around. I think that they kept him because they didn't want to show their hand that they were drafting a kicker. So as soon as they drafted the kicker, they cut him. I think Tucker knew he was gone, but they didn't want to show their hand to the rest of the league because if you cut a kicker, you don't have a kicker. Everybody knows that you want a kicker. So every time that you're about to pick, they're like, "Oh shit, they might be getting a kicker right now." So they kept him just long enough to draft a kicker, and then they got rid of him because that's what it just makes sense. That's what makes more sense than we took a kicker. Oh crap! Now we have two kickers. Then okay, you got to go. That doesn't make it as much sense with a smart organization. So I think they were just waiting until after the draft to get rid of him.
Do you think? Do you think
In my
tackle?
opinion,
Do you think tackle go to the Hall of Fame?
no.
Yeah, that is a tough one because off the field, of course, should weigh a lot. But talent
Yep.
wise, is one of the best kicker in the NFL, which is it just showed to us fans. Just because someone is very good NFL or any sport, don't assume that off the field is someone that you want to hang up with. Don't assume that because
Yep.
Tucker up to that, everyone said he does a lot for charities, which the other day they showed that he's raising money for opera and all of that, which I think
Yeah. That's marketing. That's you
yeah.
have a PR firm that does that stuff to say we gotta get this stuff off of you, this shine this light off of you. You need to start doing this stuff. That's not real.
But
I mean, it's real. I mean, it's
yeah,
for a good organization, but like he's not doing it because he's a good person. He's doing it to get to restate his name. You know, like claim his
yeah, I
positive
agree with you.
profile.
But honestly, I don't understand why the Browns haven't cut Watson. And I understand cap room implication,
Well, like it's
but
guaranteed money. It's guaranteed money. So here's what I'm just sorry to interrupt you. Here's what it actually is. If you put somebody on IR, you get cap relief. So
of
he's
course,
guaranteed money, right? You don't save money by cutting him. You save money by getting this guy and placing him on IR. The only thing you lose that is that one of your allocated IR spots, but it makes so much sense to do that over unless there's a clause in the contract to that if they can't perform, you have out. I haven't read the contract, so I don't know. But it makes way more sense to put him on IR than to cut
right, which I think again, the general
him.
manager, the owner, Jimmy Aslan, again, basically prevented because Watson, we know
Oh shit! I gotta
technically.
go in like a little bit. By the way, I gotta go. I got like 5 minutes.
So,
I look at the
so
time.
Watson, we
Bullshit.
know, yeah, Watson, we know technically was guilty. I mean, he settled and all that. You settle. The reason why you settle is not because you're innocent, but you have something that you know that you will be found guilty. So we know that. So
Yep.
I'm pretty confident something to do with the reason why Watson is not being cut. I think he should have been cut, but the Browns basically want to save money. And like we said before, even with Watson, without Watson, the Browns are the joke of the NFL, which guess where their training camp. Guess against who they practice, the training camp.
Say one more time. Oh, the Panthers. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Dude, oh,
Which
that's what I'm
unfortunately,
scared of. Oh, crap. We have to see
which
freaking. Oh, God. I don't want to.
which
That
unfortunately,
monster coming at Bryce.
yeah, Miles Garrett. But hey, we have Icky, we have Morton, so should be all right. Should be all right. But unfortunately, for us fans in Charlotte, Carolinas, training camp will be blacked out. So we won't get to watch it. I mean, not blackout, but we won't get
Unless
to
we're
watch.
on HBO.
No,
I
I don't think so. I don't. I mean, who knows? I mean, we
mean,
already
it's their
talked about
choice. It's HBO's choice. We're a candidate to be on what's it called? Their show.
uh, the NFL show.
Hard
Well,
Knocks, Hard Knocks, Hard Knocks.
Outlaw.
Yeah, Hard Knocks.
But I am curious, since I never watched Out Knocks, is the show edited or is it real? Everything you see, it's real, or they edited like the team as a say, listen, we don't want that because my
Oh no, no, yeah, no, no, yeah. I mean, they don't get in the huddles. They don't do that kind of stuff. But I think they have pretty much as long. I think there's a agreement that as long as you don't show our signs, our formations, our kind of stuff like that, you can do whatever you want. Like say they have pretty much free range,
so it's
and they follow around like 3, 4 bubble guys, and they'll also
hmm.
kind of follow like the stars a little bit.
So is it not similar in a way similar to Panthers Confidential, Camp
Yes, it's very
Confidential?
similar. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you're exactly right. Except they follow around. Like Panthers Competition doesn't follow around bubble players because it's kind of like negative and like that's kind of like weird. If you're the organization that's following around and you're already calling them bubble players, um, Hard Knocks is not as kind.
Yeah, so I think we talked about all of the important topics next week. Next week, I know it's not the NFL, but we have the NBA draft lottery, totally different sport, but here in Charlotte, we're hoping
Yeah,
that we will win the first overall pick and draft Cooper Flag. So the city of Charlotte sport wise. Lucky that is on Monday night. Then Wednesday night, and all of because on social media, all of the teams will release on interest. So we'll have a chance to react and do all of that. So make sure to
sounds good to
tune in.
me. Sounds good to me.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, bro.
See you
Until
next
next
Wednesday.
time. Peace. Also, nice to
Thanks.
meet you too. F dash 4547.
Yeah, FX. I call him FX.
Nice to meet you, FX. Later, man.
Yep. Thank you, my friend. So that was Alex Bryant. I hope you guys had a good show. I'm still live for a bit. Still live for a bit. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. If you haven't done so, smash the like button and share the stream. And look like for whatever reason, my long stream ended. Thank you, I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night. And you missed my show from last night, FX. You should watch it because I'm very lucky to be alive, my friend. I'm extremely lucky to be alive. So hopefully you will have a chance to watch the show from yesterday. Watch the replay. Watch the replay from start to finish. Smash the like button and all of that. But also watch what happened. Oh, okay. I understand. So because I was basically second. I'm not talking about minutes. I'm talking about second, like 2 seconds away from being dead. And I'm not exaggerating. I was basically 2 seconds away from being dead yesterday. So I'm alive. I'm grateful to God for protecting me, grateful for my loved ones who are in heavens, who watched over me. Because, yeah, basically, yesterday I was driving, I think around 3:33 my time, PM, driving on a two-way road, and basically I was driving west to east. I had a green light. I was going like that. Then in between, down there, like down there where my end is, there is a red light, and people can go north, basically south to north or north to south. So I was going west to east. I was going like that, like that. And then, like I said, the cars that come in north and south or south to north, red light. They're not supposed to come right at you. What happened? I was going like that, started driving and driving, which is not a long drive, like maybe a minute drive from one intersection to another, like maybe 2 minutes drive at the very most. So I was going around 30 miles per hour. A car who was supposed to stop right here at the red light was going right at me above the speed limit, driving like crazy, driving like point comparison. The speed limit in that intersection is 40 miles per hour. That driver was going about 60 miles per hour, driving on red light, which reckless driving and should have definitely stopped on red. So I was going like that. Let's say this is my car right here. He was right there. He was right there. Basically missed my car by a split second. He missed it in my car. Now, if God forbid he would have hit my car, guess where it would have impacted my car? Right at the driver's side. T-bone. Right at the driver's side. So that, my friend, was very scary situation. Very, very scary situation. And as soon as it happened afterward, immediately after it happened, my end, this end right here, where I'm pointing, was twitching. Never happened before. Was twitching like for a couple of seconds. And as soon as I arrived at the other intersection safely, I grabbed my head with both of my hands. I said, wow! That's what I said. I didn't say hallelujah or anything. I said, wow. I was shocked. I was shocked because I didn't typically, God forbid, you're about to be in an accident. You can see how you can prevent. Exactly. You can prevent. You can take defensive driving. In this particular case, I didn't see the car coming. That car, when I first looked at the intersection to make sure that there are no cars, like in that intersection, I can go straight. There might be cars at the other intersection where I was heading, basically going like that. Basically going from here to over there. So you have to be careful, or there might be cars going from there. But when I was looking at the stoplight over there was no car, and all of that. So he was driving like a maniac, driving at excessive speed. And on top of that, I didn't see it. So I didn't have a chance to like press the brake or anything like that. So he was like racing on a red light. And you can say, my friend, I was as close as you can be to involve in a car accident and not being involved in a car accident. That's how close I was. That was very scary. I don't wish it on anyone to experience what I experienced yesterday, but it gave me, honestly, made me gratitude and appreciate for even the small stuff. Even the small stuff, it gave me gratitude and appreciation for everything. And take life for granted. You have ones, even if you haven't spoke with them in a while, make sure to tell your loved one, your family, you love them. Because you don't know if tomorrow or if in a second from now you will be in heaven. You will be in heaven. And I know I don't talk about religion on my channel, but I definitely believe God, without a doubt, protected me yesterday. I definitely believe my loved ones who are in heaven definitely protected me yesterday, without a doubt, because I did not see that driver was coming. I didn't see him coming. But yet, here I am, alive. My didn't suffer damage. I did not suffer damage. And I'm extremely grateful, and extremely blessed, because it's a miracle. I mean, as I stated yesterday, FX, at best case scenario from that car accident, how fast that maniac was driving, and where he would have hit my car, the driver's side, the very best scenario, I would have been hospitalized, probably in a nursing home the rest of my life in a vegetable condition, living miserable, not being able to take care of myself, not be able to feed myself, or do the simple stuff that we take for granted, not be able to move my legs. That would have been at the very least. And more than likely, I would have been dead. I would have been dead, which is tough, so tough to believe, because we take life for granted. But my point is, never take life for granted. Appreciate every second that you have in you. Appreciate and be grateful for everything that you have, even the small stuff. Even the small stuff, such as being able to move your hand. Appreciate that. Don't say, "Oh, I'm just moving my hand." Don't take anything for granted. Don't. And appreciate everything, because it could be, you could lose everything tomorrow, in a second from now. There is no promise for any of us. And live your life as if tomorrow you won't be here. And what I mean, live your life in a happy, positive, optimistic way, that if you, God forbid, you go to heaven and your loved ones are not in heavens, they won't be sad. They won't be as, let me say it again. They will be sad, but not as sad as they would normally be. So you should watch that replay from last night, FM. Should really watch it. And anyway, I will be back tomorrow night for another fun interactive show. Make sure, guys, to help my channel grow and monetize, please have the bell notification on for all of the notification when I'm going live, so you won't miss any of my broadcasts. And please smash the like button, subscribe, and let's help my channel monetize as soon as possible. God bless you all. I will see you all tomorrow night.